Finals. I'm Cotton. My partner is Klops. We've got 8 seconds to go before this gets started, and we want to always look at the purchases. For the Ts, some armor. For the CTs, 1 support player, 2 armors, a kit and frag, and another armor. Where do we go? Let's pull up the overhead and see where this pathing leads us. Couple of T's to the A main. We've got to push. Shroud's going to find them first. He needs to hit that shot lest he be knocked down, and everybody seems to have missed their mark. A little rust, perhaps, a little nerves in the morning allows Shroud to move back. Now, nobody controls that A ramp, but still the standoff remains. You can see through that, that mini-map that there's a boost happening at mid, and Steel controls the defensive hold out at the horseshoe. First shot made by Skadoodle. Next engagement, perhaps by Sempis, tries to flick the corner at the headshot box, engages 2, 1 at the Z, trades 1. Skadoodle hits him. What to do, what to do. It seems like seizing A seems to be the plan right now. You can see on the minimap the rotates all the way back, and iBUYPOWER is the type to flood and help their teammates fast enough. You'll often hear Dazed in communication saying, get there, get there, get there, and then when they finally have bodies on location, he'll stop them, call them back, and it seems to be a rotational weakness sometimes. When they get a little bit overexcited, Cloud9 might want to exploit this.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud9 strat is going to be wow.
You missed one.
Beautiful shot there. Saw it from the death perspective.
Cloud9 now breaking into bomb site B. 2 alive for them, Shroud and Hiko facing off against Steel, Skadoodle, and Daze. Bomb site has been taken. That bomb lands right at the feet of Shroud, and thankfully that armor saves him from being instantly knocked out. Steel over the top, looking for the headshot, can't pick it up. There's the first kill on the retake. Skadoodle hits it. Shroud still in the site, holding on, trying to buy time for that clock, but iBUYPOWER celebrates early with the fist bump. You can hear it in the crowd. There's the defuse and the first critical round.
Yeah, and since they got that bomb plan, what we know of Cloud9, there's going to be a early buy coming in at some point here. We'll see if they actually go for the Deagles. Oh, wow. Already on round 2?
Hey. AK? You know when we say they don't observe conventional buying standards, we don't mean like buying UMPs.
Straight to Hiko.
Straight to AK time.
Yeah.
Now, I'm very curious, is anyone else going to buy a rifle? Because there's not, you can follow somebody and try to pick up weapons, and it looks like that's the plan.
It does. They go with some Deagles, and they're just going to boost Hiko up in mid, as we see here, and he's going to try to make some plays over here. This
is a very smart place to play here. On this round, you're probably going to have a range advantage, especially versus a FAMAS or the mid player who's saving for an op. Maybe he has a Deagle or a CZ. If he flicks him now, he's giving it away, and all of iBUYPOWER knows what just happened. They've dropped Sean Garris, who didn't have a weapon. There's a split execute, and iBUYPOWER wins that entire exchange with nothing landing, the only kill. Swag's down. iBUYPOWER still sits pretty happy. The 1 player left happens to wield an AK, and now he's a little bit in the hole when it comes to money.
Yeah, kind of interesting. As you said, you know, when you buy a gun like that, you kind of expect to follow that player and pick it up if he dies. But what they did the complete opposite. The 4 people broke off, went towards A. They expected Hiko to get a kill in mid and then draw him off, but you saw he missed that kill and announced basically to iBUYPOWER that, hey, they at least bought 1 AK. They could have more, so they immediately went to the very passive approach on the B sides, and they were turtle perfectly and stopped that take.
Like to make a correction on my first observation. Hiko was not the one who purchased this weapon. He was gifted that weapon.
Yes.
P250 is trying to pierce that Z connector. Swag lands a kill. That's Shroud, the first one off the field, and we'll take a look at the mini-map here just to see where the positions are. All of iBUYPOWER spread out in a default, but Swag a bit exposed on the highway. He'll stick in his position, try to transfer his spray. Sean Garris doesn't let him escape. Will he recover the gun, though?
It's pretty much up there. The quad guy is watching it, and he's got to be... He has to. You don't want them to get that gun.
Such a frustrating moment for you. If you've successfully wrested a weapon away, you know that it's in reach, but somebody's controlling that lane. It happens to be Daze at the moment, and we need to turn the X-ray back on.
Oh.
There we go. 2 FAMAS kills for AZK, and the bomb's dropped. Hiko's already dead. We're done with all those Ecos, we think. iBUYPOWER has 3.
Yeah, I mean, they did buy that AK, so someone's going to be a little bit short, but... they should be fine to force, actually. And, yeah, we do see that. So 2 mollies coming in. That's going to potentially lead to a B strat. We've seen Cloud9 go for that where they molly up the platform. Obviously, they could be used elsewhere. But, I mean, that is a possibility with that in their inventory.
Yeah, mauling the quad at A, also a possibility. Mauling the close corner or even the forklift, again, a possibility. But the radar tells us that it might not be the B strat that Klops thought it was. It's going to be a slow approach to A with Shroud working the squeaky door. And if somebody presses, they know how much Swag likes to get on top of the big box. When Daze is going to put him up there so he can control both the squeaky and assist the big door. Nades out. It's very obvious where this execute's about to happen. Nothing, backs out, smokes for his teammate. Here comes the engagement. Swag refuses to shoot, being as disciplined as possible. Has one, a double, transfers for the triple, looks for the quad, looks for that person to his right, and he just needs to pre-fire him. AZK will help him do the honors. 4 rounds, and it's Swag's patience that wins him.
Yeah, that was such a pro play to not just go for that first shot that you saw, because he waited for everybody to come out, and then you saw he picked up 2 easy ones. That transfer to the third, very impressive spray transfer. I mean, especially with an AK. Wow.
Oh my God. At some point, we're going to have to bring you guys over to the pit cams here. The emotions are running high early, and these guys are getting fired up about their game, and they're only 5 rounds in.
Yeah, I mean, iBUYPOWER, you know, people probably thought of them as the underdog, but right now they're having a strong start on this map.
Now, how would you typify the split on this map? I would still call it a bit CT-sided.
Yeah, I feel like it's CT-sided as well. I mean, the rotates aren't that long, and I mean, the entry points for the terrorists is very small. So, I mean, the CTs do get that slight advantage.
C9 is never, ever scared to buy. Look now, weak second-tier rifles, Galil's and a CZ. But that CZ player has armor, has support nades, so he's still a factor.
Oh, yeah, and you see they have Shroud in the squeaky door trying to get some work going over there, trying to draw some people out of mid, because it does look like they want to try to regain mid control here.
For the T's, a spread default look. They've yet to really penetrate mid as they're looking for some inkling that they have space to work with here. Now Semphis takes the first tentative steps, looking at the Z, and we'll try to come around. With control of mid, what he's going to do is try to pick up the rotators as they move toward B, and the B player is still holding on. They have no gathered information as to whether or not the execute's coming until the vent broke. Now it's here. The rotate cutoff has been, I suppose, recalled. It's a full team take into bomb side B. AZK has a little bit of a tough time controlling the AK to start, but he picks up a triple and he makes up for his initial mistake. Right by him, he could have picked up a quad, but Steel won't let it happen. Steel and Daze combined, they celebrate. You can hear it in the distance. iBUYPOWER still perfect at 5.
Yeah, and AZK, like you said, he started off a little shaky, but then honed it in real quick to pick up that triple kill. And that's 2 triples coming out from iBUYPOWER from both sides of the map. So if you're Cloud9, you got to be wondering, okay, we're testing each different spot of this map, and we're not getting anywhere. Like, you're running out of ideas almost. They got to be sure to, you know, stay patient and then just try to find that weakness from iBUYPOWER and then expose it.
You wonder why they had to recall Semphis. It seems like the extra firepower didn't really do anything at B. Semphis could have stayed out in a lurk role and maybe done some damage or been a threat with the noise. I
think what they thought, like I said, they had Shroud in the squeaky. I think maybe they thought they pulled some rotates over, but they didn't. They actually, iBUYPOWER was still sticking to that 2-1-2, so they had the quick rotate from the mid player.
Oh, he saw his feet. Skadoodle just saw the knees, takes the shot, pierces the thigh. Sean Gayers is gone. And we're back to 5 versus 3, a scenario that we've seen before. You're right. And I think Semphis had done enough scouting around to know that there was a passive look on defense that round. iBUYPOWER wasn't playing the highway. They weren't actively defending the Z. So maybe standing in that location wasn't the best use of his efforts.
Nice bait there by Nothing.
Very, very nice. Body baits himself into the right corner. Hiko fills in for him to do the right, or the, excuse me, I guess for the enemy's perspective, that was a left side slide out that caught him by surprise.
Yeah, he did that little shoulder peek, got the guy on catwalk to fire down, and then they knew exactly where it was, so Hiko, it was an easy shot for him to make.
Very subtle moves, very veteran moves.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're back. 4 versus 3. We got some weak CTs. Swag and Skadoodle both wounded, 49 and 18 apiece respectively. Then we have the Sawdust 2 headshot box engagement. Daze has to know that somebody's close. He hits that shot at a perpendicular. Oh! Sends him away. Nothing responds. Trades him out. 1 versus 3.
Nice. So confident in their pistols, these guys. And, I mean, as you see, it makes sense.
Most importantly, Daze wins that round by milking the clock all the way down, and at the end of it, AZK courageously steps out to make sure that all of Cloud9 has dropped their weapons.
6-0. I mean, I feel like this has to be a little bit rattling for Cloud9. I mean, they came into this match very confident, but they're hitting a wall right now. I mean, they do have, if, you know, iBUYPOWER wins these 2 maps, they got another, basically a reset on that to go with. But, I mean, iBUYPOWER looking really strong, and doing what iBUYPOWER does when they get ahead, going with the 2 autos with the op.
Perhaps a little bit too soon for Cloud9 to declare their North American dominance.
I mean, I do remember.
Oh.
I was going to say, I do remember back in Season 3 or Season 4 when they played each other, these two teams. And, yeah, iBUYPOWER ended up picking up the autos like we saw, and then Cloud9, who was obviously under a different name back then, they just didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. Escaping a highly or well-funded, I should say, team of counter-terrorists is very difficult on DE Cash. Shroud, however, is not at all phased by the fact that his team's already gone. So a double for him, trying to hold on, and he's just going to get off. That's the end of that one. iBUYPOWER still blanking Cloud9 on the scorecard, 7-0.
Doing a great job, and you saw those autos worked. They played. Steel actually, I can't tell if he lost his. I don't think he did. But either way, if he did, that's going to be a little bit of an expenditure, but their economy is still booming. Look at it, 10K, 7K, 8K, 6K, and then 4. So iBUYPOWER's economy very strong, whereas Cloud9, even with that losing bonus, they're at a flat 0. So they're buying up every round, and they're just not really getting much from these rounds.
A little odd that this is Cloud9's map, and they're having so much trouble getting any sort of momentum. Double peak, Skadoodle typically will be punished for that one, but he's allowed to live. Again, Cloud9's offense, for some reason, does not seem to be clicking, but Skadoodle making a mental error there, backing up into the toxic barrels, will allow himself to be killed easily. Daze and AZK, however, don't care. Doubles for both of them.
Yeah, and that happened very quickly. You saw Skadoodle got pinned. He was the only one who died, and the team was there quickly on the rotates to help out. So even though he didn't trade anyone out, I mean, everyone, the people from A site were there shooting down the speedway, and then you had the rotate from middle as well, and they just cleaned it up very, very nicely.
Cloud9's tried speed. They've tried the slow ISO pick. They've slowed this
about near everything.
Yeah, they've tried to slow
A,
default.
they've hit B. They've gone for mid to B. You know, they're trying everything here, but they're just getting shut down left and right.
There's about 2 possibilities left. Trying to get a lot of movement, maybe early rotators and cutting out rotators for an isolation play, or going with a dedicated set piece. But I don't envision either.
We haven't seen actually from Cloud9. We haven't seen the dedicated smokes on A to try to isolate the site.
Or the Molly B.
Yeah. So maybe they do go for that.
They're playing very, very cautiously right now as Cloud9 has sort of touched the stove and been burned. Z connector player, Skadoodle steps out. He's gaining confidence, legging the player across from him, stepping back out for want of saving himself from being dinked through the wall.
Yeah. Smart that he just backed out. Throws a flash, delays him a little bit, and allows people in the map to rotate and try to help him out.
Now, make this observation. If Cloud9 identifies what weapons are on the field, they'll want to get very close to their opponents. Just about everybody this round had scopes. The closer they get, the harder it is going to be to survive. That's why he's got his ideal positioning here back toward the white with his auto sniper. You got to wrap around now and expect Memphis not to move for just a little bit while he waits for his teammates at A main to join him so they can do a joint take, get a couple of angles as Swag waits on the other side of the smoke. Traded by nothing. Skadoodle drops Shroud, and we're down to a 2 versus 2. Now a 2 versus 1. AZK versus. Could this be the first round for Cloud9? They're on the board, 8-1.
They are. They finally get on the board, and I mean that was a bit of a rush play towards the middle. Kind of got in Skadoodle's face. He did trade out 1 before, but then by that time they had 2 people in middle, and it was just too dangerous for him to get there. Didn't really get any help from the teammates at A, aside from they just had some eyes on it. But yeah, so maybe that's what they need to do. Like you said, they have too many scopes. So how do you solve that? Smoke flashes, get in their face.
That might not have been a product of Cloud9 breaking out a new strategy. They went back to a split bunch take. Nothing groundbreaking, no wheel invented. But I think the number of scopes on the field was sort of, I suppose, just disabled iBUYPOWER's ability to be flexible in combat.
Ooh. Yeah, it did. Pretty good nade there and an opening kill by Skadoodle. So once again, Cloud9 starting out on the back foot, but now they evened it up.
Hiko tucked into the toxic barrels of the big box near the A entrance. This is going to be a forced A take simply because their teammate has been isolated. Daze tries to pick up 2. His M4A1 does fail him, and he is traded with nothing at the very end. That was almost a kill through smoke, and Hiko's instincts are right on point. Tucks himself into the headshot box, the old headshot box, now a standing I-beam, I think we'll call it. Standing column.
Yep.
Look at this. 1-on-1. Auto sniper battle. Nothing to do but clutch now for nothing. He's got 3. All of them to his left. 1 coming from white. Now 2 coming from white. 1 to charge. And he peeks just a little bit too wide. iBUYPOWER reestablishes their lead, extends their lead back out to 8.
Yeah, let's take a look at the score. That's obviously going to kill the money for Cloud9. I mean, they did get the bomb plant, so they will be good. But if they lose another round, probably going to be broke. Looking at the frags and seeing who's performing, nothing is actually on top. That's a good sign for Cloud9. When nothing is playing well, I mean, he can't be that catalyst that just propels them to new levels. But the other problem is that Semphis isn't doing well. He's only got 1 kill. He goes surprisingly low as well. Shroud doing good, and Garrus is struggling a bit as well. So most of the roster for Cloud9 is just having trouble hitting those shots, it seems.
Now, we can't definitively say that people aren't playing well. We will have to pull up the graphs later, look at the ADR for the players, give you an honest assessment about whether or not they're actively contributing or they're actually playing poorly.
We'll do that after this round. How about that?
Yeah, Cloud9, I think in the last round, you tell me, they had an opportunity to pull out, reset, and go back to their default. But I think because Higo got trapped at that box, the entire team felt the need to commit, and they ran right into a set defense.
Higo got trapped. Nothing was trapped at the site. And I feel like they also had smokes down, and they kind of felt that they could have made the play, that they decided to just stick with it. But, yeah. You know, Hiko was the main one that was trapped, and he couldn't really go anywhere.
Now, this kind of leads us into an analysis of the meta, right? You know that they're using 3-scoped weapons. Where are they the weakest? In transition. So you got to try to get people moving across, catch them while rotating while the scopes are least useful, and catch those easy kills on the flank. Nice nade by Daze, who drops Sean Gears with the explosive. This eco round coming to a close. iBUYPOWER leads 10-1.
I agree with what you said about, you know, getting them moving, trying to catch the rotates, but it's also the way to do that is to work off of picks, and they don't really have the money to do so, unfortunately. Let's take a look at the ADR graph.
Specifically for Hiko.
Look at the entire T team. I mean, they are just completely way below iBUYPOWER right now. You see nothing is kind of up above where iBUYPOWER is. Hiko's low. And then Semphis started off high, but then he's trailed down as well.
Go back to the overhead map now and show you the spread for this one. It's a mid pressure with B presence. The horseshoe, a double kill with a single op bullet. Swag gets a piercing 2nd kill for nothing. Sure, nothing's frustrated with the fact that he didn't even get a chance to respond. 3 alive for the T's, all with AK-47s and armor, and 2 have Molotovs. Battle won by Sean Gears. Very good looking 4 bursts for him. Steel is dropped, but Sean Gears walks away with 3 HP.
Looks like they're going to be heading towards B, actually. It's going to be a Skadoodle there in the 1v3 scenario. And, I mean, he does have that opt, but if he gets rushed, he could be in a precarious situation.
How to execute. 50 seconds left, and Skadoodle seems to already know. He'll call the rotates over. Look at the busy movement of his teammates on the minimap coming to support him. He knows this is pretty much commitment.
Oh, yeah, with 41 seconds left, it pretty much guaranteed. But backing out, taking their time, actually.
Yeah, what do we really know? I always get a little nervous with that last-second plant attempt, so they're going to try to force their way into this site. Even blind, Shroud moves his way through, tries to maneuver around the platform and find that scoped weapon user. There's the trade. Still 2 alive for both teams, but Sean Gears badly wounded. Now Sean Gears to clutch with 3 HP. Wounds Swag. It's a wounded cripple fight. We got to get this bomb planted with 11 seconds, Sean Gears.
Swag hat.
And the nade for the kill through the heaven.
I didn't even hear that bounce in. Oh my goodness.
A Major League Baseball pitch.
Well placed by Swag.
Oh my God, 11-1.
And like I said, you know, if they lost another round, they're going to be forced to buy. We look at their economy, they're only at about 2,900 apiece. So they are going to have to force here. This is most likely going to be round number 12 for iBUYPOWER.
How do you climb out of this? It just seems that you're just so badly snake bitten.
I mean, we talked to Hiko about that before, and he said, you know, you just got to try to stay positive. You got to work 1 round at a time. And, I mean, the comebacks can happen, but it's just not.
Oh, we missed the 1 deke. We apologize. This is a very mentally tough team, but still, you can't ignore that this is happening. Trades on an eco round looking pretty good for Cloud9, who can now pick up a couple of weapons. They have a Galil and an M4A1, and including a very flashbang Skadoodle, this bomb site's now undermanned.
Yeah, and Skadoodle, he's facing with the ops, and being in that heaven position, it's not ideal for the op. You got a lot of tight angles to work with there.
They know exactly where he is, and they've harassed
yeah.
him, making it so difficult for him to locate players by continuously flashbanging him. Now he has very little concept as to where they are because the sound gets knocked out, the vision gets knocked out. He's going purely off of guesswork.
I almost feel, oh.
Oh.
The way,
Oh! Oh! 1 versus 1, back left corner, that pierceable box. Swag probably doesn't have enough time, and he won't be allowed to clutch. Hiko drops him with the CZ, but it was a hair-raising one.
2 1-digs in a row from Swag, pulling out the amazing shots, making it look fun. Oh my goodness. But, I mean, that was a comeback round for Cloud9. They pick up the 1 win, and, I mean, that's a step in the right direction. Even though it is already an 11-2 deficit, you know, as long as they keep just, you know, 1 round at a time.
Are you not convinced that this is a championship-level game? Because that might have just announced it.
Oh, I'm convinced.
I
hope everyone else is as well.
That was phenomenal. Look at this push. Swag's going to step into the squeaky with his scope, and he'll have his back turned to his opponents. I don't know that anyone knows that he stepped into the squeaky, but he missed his shot, and he'll have to, I think, surrender his position. Or just hit close-range scopes. The bomb's dropped. He has a double! And a no triple. Sean Gears will drop him, say no joy. AZK cleans up that for the trade 2 versus 2, and the engagement continues. But everybody's traded spots. iBUYPOWER's in the T positions, where the T's are in the CT positions. Skadoodle knows one's up on top of that water closet or the cubby, and Shroud will hit from on top of the cubby. That's the headshot he needed. Cloud9 has 3.
Nice reflex by Shroud right there, because he was looking in the opposite direction, and his teammate fell rather quick, so that could have been in trouble because he stopped the bomb from being planted too. But another one for Cloud9, so picking up a little bit of momentum here. Obviously, this is the last round, but look at this. All the money that iBUYPOWER has been spending on scopes, they're finally saving. Well, obviously buying what they can, but it's pistols.
You could lose out in this half. Not that I'm encouraging it, but
they should be in a
there
good
would be
spot,
no
yeah.
difference to how I feel how you perform this half. Nothing to charge in. Chase the retreating AZK, and the most expensive weapon in iBUYPOWER's arsenal is lost for the round and lost for the half. 3 alive. And soon maybe not so many. Oh my god. Thought we might have a ninja defuse attempt. Hiko was actually traded by that nade. Thought he might survive that. It's just Steel with his 5-7 to flash himself in and go for the hero play. It won't happen. The half ends 11-9. You're watching the CEVO Grand Finals on LAN. Current score 11-4. iBUYPOWER leads in the first map of a best-of-3 series or a conditional 2 best-of-3 series. Welcome in. You're watching CEVO TV. I'm Cotton. My partner is Klops. Phenomenal plays.
Yeah, even though it was somewhat of a one-sided half, I mean, we saw some excellent shots coming out from these guys, and especially towards the end of that half, some impressive stuff coming out from Swag. Yeah, but, you know, Cloud9, they got a lot of work ahead of them, and it's going to have to start out with that pistol round.
Where do you go now? Cloud9 has to think of creative ways to get defensive. If they stay in their static positions, the combined minds of Steel and Daze will pick them apart.
I mean, I still feel for a pistol you want to have more stick with that default position. I mean, if they try to stack something, that might you know, might not work out just by luck of the draw, and it could work against them. So I almost feel like they just got to go with their default pistol and hope that they could just hit those shots and pick up the kills.
You've got a handicap now. How does this map end?
I'm thinking it's going to end in favor of iBUYPOWER. I mean, Cloud9 showed some promise there in the last few rounds, but, you know, iBUYPOWER, I'm sure after losing those rounds and having this little break in between the half, they you know, talked it out, said, all right, guys, you know, we lost those, but we need to focus up here and get this going.
Special thanks to our friends at NVIDIA GeForce for assisting us in assembling this tournament. Stick around for after this game or after this series. We've got a special announcement to share with you all. We're all very excited to tell you. Here's the breakout for the pistol round, and we've already started with the fast play. Mullet to the back, and that one is going to be unpunished. Shroud walks away, hits a shot on the move, has 3 on the round, and we've got Steel to try to respond. Dazed to try to survive. That rampage by Shroud so fast that we couldn't even capture it. Steps back out. Sean Gears doesn't let him leave.
Yeah, and so that was a good round by Cloud9. Exactly what we said needs to happen. Basically, they had the entry into the site. They got the molly down and moved Shroud off his position, but he did some amazing shots, and the quick rotate was there, and they were able to defend it very well.
Here we go. Our breakout now is a walk to the horseshoe. Team perhaps sprint out move toward bomb site B. They've got one flashbang to work with, and they hope to probably turn it into a pop flash. The minute it explodes, expect everyone to come sprinting out. Days will lead the charge, and will just be blown away by nothing. They're still alive inside of that checker room. Has another one in that 25-round magazine. Switches out for his USP. Swag trying to counter him and use his reflexes to save him. He knows that there's a good possibility that there's a flank coming. He's got to deal with his certain problems, especially those piercing bullets coming through that wall. 11-6.
The flank was there, and he didn't have to even see him to to lay down some damage, like you said. They just tried to go for that B stack. Use a pop flash. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to do it. So yeah, Cloud9 will probably pick up this next one as well. But I mean, obviously, iBUYPOWER is very capable of ecoing. But we won't see the real start of this half until the buy round.
Right. Here's the breakout for the T's. Another eco round on the docket. Days to get fast boosted and even engage the players at the hut a little early. We've got a wraparound intended. You can see one player moving toward the squeaky, maybe to engage his opponents and change this into a multi-angle approach. We're just going to have a pistol, like an OK Corral, old Western-style pistol shootout. Skadoodle wins with a P250, and Swag picks up another one. They all have guns. Well, Steel has one available and has yet to pick one up, and they'll have a bomb plant, which is a victory on the round. This is tough. You've got someone real close, and you could get shot in the back, Skadoodle. The rotates are already here for Cloud9.
Steel is over in mid looking for rotates, but they're already there. He needs to get over towards A.
Hiko is in on the retake. Nobody's going to engage him, and as he pump fakes, will anybody actually peek him?
No, they're more. They know what to do. They know it's a pump fake.
They've known him to be that type, the one who will not commit to the defuse. They would have let him defuse had he stuck it, but of course they are all too familiar with each other.
They certainly are, and you know that was a great eco round by iBUYPOWER. I said Cloud9 would probably take it, but I was wrong. iBUYPOWER picks up that eco, and now they got the momentum back in their favor, and they force Cloud9. Well, I was going to say force Cloud9 to save, but it's Cloud9, and they like to force buy. So
Cloud9 doesn't necessarily know what save means.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's in their vocabulary.
Yeah,
Sunfish just wrote that one out.
They've had team practices where they're not allowed to say that word. They get slapped on the wrist. To a default with iBUYPOWER, they'll spread out to control every location on the map. The B side of the default, a default that is allowing for a passive look outside of the horseshoe. There's the huge 90-degree perpendicular kill by Swag to hit the final entry, and Days to cut out the first rotator. We're going to need a bomb plant for the T's to make sure that this is a sure thing. But Cloud9 looks, for the most part, disenfranchised.
They do. They look like they're having trouble, and we did see this setup from the standard default by iBUYPOWER.
Nothing was eventually looking for that exit kill, but will be dropped by AZK, who plummets through the smoke. He goes the last one alive. He does have an M4A1. He makes certain that he's positioned himself to find exits, but he really does want to save this.
He does. Their economy is, well, they'll be able to buy next round. Well, no, they force him. Sorry, I totally forgot. Yeah, so he does want to try to save this, and he doesn't have enough time. Or he does with the kill.
Does he?
Oh, my goodness.
Does he have the ninja defuse? Oh, the green light turns on. Hiko gets it so close. So close.
I'm sure Skadoodle was like, guys, he's defusing the bomb. He might have this. And people, they were probably, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure knowing Skadoodle, he was like, and I'm pretty sure Days interpreted that. He's defusing the, like that. Yeah. 13-6, iBUYPOWER buying up all AK-47s, Cloud9 to a true save this time. A couple luxury pistols.
A true save, yeah, finally. But not really, because they bought head armor and expensive pistols and grenades, so.
Give me your impressions. Are you as surprised as I am, given the results? Cloud9 picked this map. What is going on?
I'm surprised that it was so one-sided. I'm not surprised that iBUYPOWER is playing well.
Very, very true. Back to what appears to be a 2-2-1 defense. Now that 2-2-1 means for the CTs that one player on the highway is designated to support the mid player Z. to allow them to peek should they need it, support them should they need exits, and generally make sure that nobody dies, because it is quite easy to die at mid on D. Cash for the T's, a very, very passive default. I think iBUYPOWER is expecting them to be charged on an eco round. Just make sure that nobody does something funny with a pistol and rips a gun away from you.
Like what just happened to Swag.
Like exactly what just happened to Swag.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think that was done with a good pop flash by the teammates in that site. But either way, that is an AK. Well, they actually didn't get the AK. Interesting.
There's that Molotov. It's intended to be a fake.
It's working.
It's
working.
All
of Cloud9 are over there in the site.
And they could sneak this bomb in, but the bomb is so far away from bomb site A, they may not get it. Steals all the way in. And he's by himself. He's given up his AK-47. There's 5 CTs alive. They have to realize that nobody's here, and they're all sprinting out toward bomb site A now. The bomb now being planted with 10 seconds left, and the CTs will be on the scene very, very soon. 3 well-armed Ts versus, well, 1 well-armed CT, but there's 5 of them. It's a weird trade-off.
Get planted.
It took a very long time. It took perhaps just a bit overly cautious on that execution.
Yeah.
And the AK-47's overwhelmed the number of under-armed CTs, and Hiko's going to have to try to clutch again. Back to quad, 1T to engage, hits the headshot, could try to pick up a gun, and just doesn't have enough time to pull that weapon out. 13-6.
Anytime you see Hiko on the clutch and he leads off with a kill, you get that shiver going down your spine, thinking he is gonna do.
Excuse me, that's 14-6.
14-6. Yeah, iBUYPOWER is knocking on the tie-pouring door, and still Cloud9 still buying left and right. Like you said, they don't know what save means.
Well, at this point, this makes sense. Now you don't want to play for the tie.
Exactly. But still, it's going to be scouts and some deagles trying to make something happen here. I'm not liking the odds.
iBUYPOWER smells blood in the water. They'll use that same isolated B player to generate threat, maybe move some players over. I'd like to point out that the same thing that we had mentioned earlier rings true. They noticed that the rotates for the scoped weapon users on, or not the scoped weapon users, the riflers on Cloud9 seems to have a long transition time, and iBUYPOWER is successfully exploiting people in transition.
It is. It is, and I mean that's also based around their default that they've been using every round, where they have a good spread on the map, and then they try to get picks and force people over, and it worked perfectly as on that last round that we saw. Whereas
it didn't for Cloud9, because they committed to the bunch pick, and obviously the weakness of the bunch pick is not having great vision on rotators.
Swag having difficulty there in the squeaky. Second time he's gotten picked off early in the round.
Yeah, it's becoming a bit obvious that that's Swag's location, though he typically wins it. He's a very dangerous player there. If they know you're coming, they just know you're coming.
Ooh, scout shot goes whizzing by AZK's head right there.
I'm sure he's not terribly worried. He's coming back out to engage that headshot player. Here's the early rotate. Semphis and Sean Gare is trying to get to the B main door so that doesn't get smoked off before they can help their teammate. 3 versus 3. And we've got the spray down. All exits smoked out. The Heaven and the CT now obfuscated. 1 versus 3. And iBUYPOWER about to seize the tie point unless we're going to see some unbelievable scouting.
That would be some amazing scouting to get a 1v3 here.
There's one shot wide. Bomb begins to tick away. I don't think Sean Gares has any illusions about winning this. This may be the longest range tie play we've seen in the tournament.
Yeah, and he obviously was trying to get something going there, just couldn't hit the shots. I mean, saving the scout isn't too big of a deal. I mean, I guess going to the last round, it is. Terrorists everywhere.
Terrorists everywhere. Sadly cannot escape. iBUYPOWER has seized the tie point. They are on the point of taking the first map in the best of 3, but they have the longer, much steeper hill to climb.
Yeah, and I'm sure we will see that default once again. Swag, his deaths are almost kind of helping, because you saw in that first round he died. They looked in, didn't see any more CTs there, I mean terrorists there, any more members of iBUYPOWER in A, and then they started rotating when Steel showed his face in B. So it kind of worked out, made it look like he was selling the fake, which he wasn't. That's just their default. But now they actually send Dazed with him because they don't want him to die.
5 alive for the CTs. They're off to a great start this round, and they could get off to a faster start here. Daze actually survived that one dink from the rifle with 1 HP, then was promptly dropped. AZK is the last one alive, and at least it looks like this round will not be the one that iBUYPOWER wins.
Yeah, definitely not unless AZK does something crazy here, but he's...
One tapping, picks that one up. And then another. 1 versus 2, much more doable. Around the close corner, 1 versus 1. Could have picked up the full four-man clutch. I had it in my throat. I was just ready. I was ready
just
to
ready
scream.
to let it loose. Yeah, that. I mean, it looked like it was happening, but that nice double peek at the end there. Well, he go after he saw his teammate died, comes out and just picks up the kill. And unfortunately, AZK couldn't transfer the spray appropriately. But yeah, I mean, that's not the end for Cloud9. You see, iBUYPOWER's economy is struggling a bit. They are losing quite a few people in these last few rounds, so they are down quite a bit. Steel actually the only one with a decent amount. He's at 2,300. So they might be on a save here if Cloud9 can manage to pick up this round.
So much for Swag struggling. We took a look at his stat line. He's actually doing very, very well, but it might have been a product of the first half and playing on defense. Shot through the thin wall of that mid-warehouse. Will not yield a kill, but it will set up a split take on A. iBUYPOWER has given up vision over B and will combine probably to set execute with 3 people. It's tough to do this. It's tough to do risk assessment and also good, crisp executing when you're down a man. There's so much more to consider.
Especially when you're so up in terms of round score and you're facing a save. And you have 3 guns, you think, okay, well, maybe we should just save these, and then we could go to the next round with a full buy.
It looks like iBUYPOWER, however, is not daunted by this, and they're going to give this an earnest try. So we're going to have to look for the quad man, the sight man, and then the first rotator most likely at white. Daze knows this, and he's peeking that truck. Then he might take a look at the forklift, but I think he knows how often Cloud9 sticks somebody right there at the quad.
The quad is like the guarantee. Someone is always going to be there.
There's a smoke unused here, and he could protect himself.
He sneaks
into the site. They don't know. Hiko was actually looking down highway. Swag can pick up 1. Hiko's still gunfighting out with the player still at the forklift, and Skadoodle ends up winning that battle. 2 versus 2. The clock ticks away, and we'll be able to plant the bomb with just 3 seconds remaining. Nothing will drop the bomb planter and promptly get the defuse after. Cloud9 making an earnest case for the comeback, but still a ways away.
Nothing messing around with the bomb a little bit there, but yeah, that's going to be a save. No, they got the bomb planter. So no save for iBUYPOWER coming into the next round, but the good thing for Cloud9 is that they just picked up a scope. They're starting to build up their economy, so if they can manage to keep this going, you know, they can start getting scopes, which they haven't had at all on this CT side, and they might be able to stage a comeback.
15-8, iBUYPOWER with a mixed buy here, an AK-47, 2 Galils, a P250, all armored up, but very limited amounts of support utility nades. Now is the time where we consider our original philosophy here. What's the appropriate approach to winning these games? Do you really need all your utility nades?
iBUYPOWER hasn't been doing it. They've been sticking to their standard default, which is looking for picks and then working off that information.
Well, Shroud's not going to let you into the site like that. And they all get cut down.
Easy round for Cloud9. No one took any damage.
Virtually none.
Yeah. So we'll be seeing a save here, and like I said, it could be. I mean, iBUYPOWER needs to figure out a way to get this closed. They're kind of going. That last round was a bunch pick. They grouped up, went towards the A side, didn't throw down any set smokes, which I feel like if you're going to do that bunch pick, then you want to have some set smokes, trying to isolate these guys in the site to make it an easier time. I feel like they need to just go back to their default and try to work on these picks.
And there's something to be said for that because they experienced their initial success by going with that default, catching rotators, finding that 1 pick. Daze to step over the boost box and actually falls down. Will he call somebody back over to get back on top? He's actually
Yes, he will.
inefficiently looking at.
Hey guys, I fell off.
I fell off. Can I get another boost, please? Thank you. Semphis lands the first kill of the round, and he lets the room know that that just happened. It's a double for him, and he's still going. AZK and Skadoodle, the last one's alive. And if you guys want to know why the director and the observations are missing a couple kills, the last patch has broken CSGO's auto director.
Yeah, so we're trying our best to
manually direct it. We're going back 5 years in our lives right now, trying to remember how to direct cameras.
Oh, man. It's rough, especially if you haven't done it in a while.
Bear with us. We're going to make this as good as we possibly can. 15-10, Cloud9 reaching the double-digit mark and making the case that now is the time. But this is the gun round. This is it. iBUYPOWER is fully bought up on utilities. 3 Molotovs and smoke double flashes or smoke single flashes for AZK and Skadoodle. We're back to the default. Do you think it's a coincidence that we identified it at the same time and they were like, we should go back to our default?
No, I'm sure the conversation was something like this. Hey guys, yeah, we need to go back to our default. We're having success with that. Let's just do that. Get the picks.
And Skadoodle grunts. We may have a boost over the red box. Nope, we have iBUYPOWER going from default and congregating back for a split A take. Notice the positioning. We'll pull up the overhead map real quick for you of the players in the back. They'll throw smokes from outside to land in front of the white. Now we'll go back to the action. Molly's for the back, and they've quarantined the entire side. Nobody can see unless Daze jumps over the top of this sight box, and I don't know if anybody saw him come over the top. He'll drop down, get the parachuting Batman kill, then be promptly shot in the back. 3 versus 3. Desperate hold-on time for Cloud9. In the site, nothing starts the retake, and Semphis comes charging with the CZ. iBUYPOWER will be denied their joy. Cloud9 still holds on. It's 15-11.
Yeah, nothing just decided to go right through the smoke. He didn't get caught, and he led the kills there. And Sean Garris as well been going right through with the deagle and picking it up. And good retake by Cloud9.
iBUYPOWER has to be so frustrated. They did a great set execute. Got all the way into the site, and they got run over by a sprinting CZ, a crouch battle. When you have those 50-50 crouch battles, when you get sprinting CZ'd, you don't feel like you've been out-thought tactically. You think that the game has just somehow defeated you.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they've gotten to the point where, well, they're right there. They just need one more round, yet they can't get it. That's a very frustrating thing. And you see Cloud9's round count is just creeping up and up and up, and we might even see an OT if this
in the first game,
if this gets crazier.
How appropriate for these two teams?
So appropriate.
A smoke for mid. Not sure its intention. It will not affect the player who's playing at the back, who's Z, who will be forced to move out early. Cloud9 does not hold on to that position very, very strongly. Sean Garris is willing to give up this position quite easily, mostly because his support player in A, the Highwayman, Hiko, doesn't play close on that side.
Yeah, and iBUYPOWER swinging back towards A once again. They haven't really tried to hit B for the most part. They did one B strat, and they did have success, but, I mean, they've been knocking on A nonstop.
Sean Garris and Daze doing the double peek dance, and Daze found out that Sean Garris did indeed have an op. The execute on A will not have a highway wrap man. It might get stopped right here, right now. Cloud9 breaking into the site. We have a quick scope attempt. Skadoodle lands. One more at the quad and one by Toxic Barrels. Quick scope good for Skadoodle. That's 2. Look at the white truck. Can't pick it up. Cloud9 survives again. 15 still for iBUYPOWER. Cloud9 sits on 12.
Keeping it alive. Let's look at the economy of iBUYPOWER. They're hurting. We'll see if they're going to go for a force. I would imagine it's going to be a save, and we do see some pistols picked up as well as some grenades. And last time they did this, they did come out with a win. But wouldn't that be funny to win on an eco round?
It's
happened before, but
that would just be so weird and ironic.
It would be.
Fast play, it looks like iBUYPOWER realizes that the front door has been smoked off, and Cloud9's definitely been doing some mental tabulations, calculating how much money their opponents have. So they should not be surprised by the fact that they're going to get a lot of suicidal tactics right now. Here comes the rush, and Shroud knows that he's been backed off, but a flashbang has slowed down the approach of the T's. He sprays through the smoke, picks up one, tries to transfer, and for the last kill of that round, Shroud cleans up with his CZ, 15-13. I don't think I need to tell you, any of you at home, the comeback is on.
It certainly is 2 rounds away. iBUYPOWER, they need to get it on this round. Otherwise, or at least get a bomb down on this round if they want to have a chance on the next round, because they'll probably have to save. And then, yeah, that will most likely be Cloud9 getting the comeback.
15-13, a gun round now. And this one will be the one that really determines it. The last round should be a Galil force if iBUYPOWER does indeed lose this round. Flashes in. Daze calls for his team to control mid. It's something that they haven't really done necessarily enough in this round of cash. Now they've successfully taken mid. Sean Garris will always give up this position, and he's told his teammates that Highway's exposed. That limits the amount of space that you can take up in A without being exposed to the fire from mid.
They've actually completely given up mid for the most part. They're playing that passive approach from the CT spawn, it looks like. So iBUYPOWER has a lot to work with right now. They just don't know it. They're playing it very cautiously.
And they have to. And they have to, given the situation. Having pushed players out of mid, they realize that the A players on the A take side can only hide so many places. That helps people isolate players inside of A, even without explicit knowledge of where they are. The rotates are on. Cloud9 swarming around. Now reinforcing mid. They want to retake mid. They realize how important this is. And their game awareness is allowing them to reprioritize objectives. The strat is turned around. It's going to be a take on A. iBUYPOWER as AZK lands the first kill of the round. It's Hiko, a critical piece to the success of Cloud9. Then nothing with a double. Trying to save his team. It's evened up again. 3 versus 3. Steel, Swag, Dazed, alive for iBUYPOWER. Shroud, Sempus, and Sean Gares for Cloud9. 7 seconds to plant. We need to get this down. Bombs in. Here's the full-on commit. Now we're going to need a Cloud9 retake and a miracle as Steel hits the first headshot and keeps everybody out through the smoke in heaven and the main. This one could buy iBUYPOWER the game. I think they've got this. Short of a miracle.
The ball down in. It's 2 ops trying to enter here. There it is.
That's it. iBUYPOWER's already celebrating. 16-13.